Sources are revealing a move that could change everything for the Eagles, my friend. A simple pair of eyes posted by one of the greatest legends in franchise history set the entire Philadelphia Eagles fan base into a collective meltdown on social media. We're talking about one of the most dominant pass rushers in the entire NFL, a guy who has put up double-digit sacks in multiple recent seasons, and who, according to league insiders, is now more available than ever on the trade market. The name is coming, but first you need to understand just how big this moment really is. I'm going to break down the full story behind that cryptic tweet, what the insiders are saying about this potential trade, and what it would all mean for the Eagles in 2026. But before we get into it, if you're a diehard Eagle Nation fan, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because this is exactly the kind of news that can flip our entire offseason in a matter of hours. With the 2026 offseason heating up and the free agency window set to open on March 9th, the Philadelphia Eagles front office is looking for ways to get back to the top of the NFC. Philadelphia knows that to reclaim the throne, bold decisions need to be made this offseason. The central question: how do you rebuild the defensive line after losing Josh Sweat to the Arizona Cardinals? That's the backdrop for the single tweet from right tackle Lane Johnson that shook the entire Eagle world. Johnson, veteran, captain, and one of the most beloved offensive linemen in Eagles history, posted on X just 2 eyes and a direct tag. Open quotes, Crosby Max, close quotes. That was enough to send every fan in Philadelphia into a frenzy. The target of that message is Max Crosby, defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders, and currently the hottest name on the NFL trade market. It is no exaggeration to say that Crosby is one of the best pass rushers on the planet right now. So what exactly is going on with Max Crosby, and why would Lane Johnson try to publicly recruit this guy? Let's break it all down. The Las Vegas Raiders defensive end has been one of the most dominant forces on any defensive line in the NFL over the past several years. Crosby is the kind of player who completely transforms a defense, the kind of guy that opposing offensive coordinators are forced to game plan around every single week. And according to insider Jordan Schultz, things got very serious around a potential trade in just the last few days. Schultz reported that teams in the market have gotten the sense that the Raiders are more open to the idea of trading Crosby than they were before, and that this situation is only going to intensify as the days go on. In other words, what looked like a closed door is now at least slightly open. The Eagles were named among the interested teams, alongside the Chicago Bears, the San Francisco 49ers, and others. But it was Lane Johnson's tweet that put Philadelphia front and center in the conversation. The question every fan is asking is, does Johnson know something we don't? Or was this a calculated public recruiting move, an attempt to pressure or persuade Crosby to choose Philadelphia if a trade does come together? Either way, my friend, both options are fascinating. Let's talk fit. If Max Crosby put on that green uniform in Philadelphia, the Eagles would instantly have one of the best pass-rushing duos in the entire league. It's important to note that the report doesn't specify who Crosby's partner on the defensive line would be, and it would be irresponsible to speculate about specific names without confirming who is currently on the roster. What we can say based on the available facts is that the Eagles finished the 2025 season with an elite defense, and the addition of a player of Crosby's caliber would only deepen that competitive advantage. And think about this. A pass rusher of Crosby's dimension isn't just a one-position upgrade. It's a statement of intent. When a championship-caliber franchise goes to market to pursue one of the 5 best defenders in the league, it's sending a clear message to the entire NFC. Philadelphia is not here to stay competitive. Philadelphia is here to dominate. That's the mentality Lane Johnson represents with a pair of eyes on X. And that's exactly the mentality that Eagle Nation wants to see reflected in Howie Roseman's decisions. Now, the financial side of this equation is where things get complicated. A Crosby trade, according to the most recent reports, would come with an astronomically high price tag. The Raiders are reportedly asking for something in the range of 2 first-round picks as a minimum return, a demand that is already pushing at least some teams away. Reporter Jane Slater, specifically covering the Dallas Cowboys angle, noted that the Cowboys would not be willing to give up 2 first-round picks for Crosby, citing the risky precedent of trading 2 first-rounders for Joey Galloway back in the 90s, a deal that didn't end well for Dallas. That's significant because it weakens one of the Eagles' main competitors in this race. But the Eagles? Howie Roseman has a track record of making bold moves when he believes a player is the missing piece for a championship team. And a franchise that won the Super Bowl just 2 years ago with a largely intact roster and an open competitive window, has far stronger arguments to justify a heavy investment in draft capital. Is Roseman ready to pull the trigger on one of the most expensive negotiations of the offseason? Based on the available facts in the report, there is no confirmation of any concrete offer from the Eagles just yet. The internal context within Eagle Nation this offseason is also worth noting. Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson, the two biggest stars on the offensive line, had both generated retirement speculation after the legendary offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland departed following reported clashes with head coach Nick Sirianni. Stoutland's exit was seen as a significant loss and raised real questions about the team's immediate future. But Johnson announced he intends to play in 2026, and so did Dickerson, a massive relief for the fan base. And now, instead of worrying about stepping away from the game, Johnson is actively trying to recruit one of the best players in the league to join him in Philadelphia. That says everything about this man's mentality and about the competitive environment inside the Eagles' locker room. But the Crosby trade is only one piece of the offseason equation. Because at the end of the day, the big question for the Eagles is, how does a championship-caliber team stay at the top? Title windows don't last forever, and Philadelphia knows it needs to act with intelligence right now. The departure of Josh Sweat to the Arizona Cardinals proved that not even the athletes who were key pieces of the Super Bowl LIX run are guaranteed to stay in Philadelphia. Roseman always has a plan, but the question is, does that plan include spending the draft capital needed to bring Max Crosby to town? Now, considering that the Bears, the 49ers, and potentially several other teams are also in the race, the Eagles cannot afford to wait around. The Crosby market can move fast, especially with the negotiating window opening shortly. And remember, according to Schultz, sources in the market are sensing a growing openness from the Raiders. This is not just a random rumor, this is real signaling. While the Max Crosby situation depends on complex negotiations and exactly how much the Raiders will demand, another crucial question for the Eagles is, what happens if this trade doesn't come together? Who would the alternative be? The report doesn't mention any specific backup plan for Howie Roseman, so it would be pure speculation on our part to invent candidates. What we do know is that the 2026 draft is right around the corner, and that the Eagles will have opportunities both through trades and through draft picks. But players at Crosby's level simply don't come available very often, and Lane Johnson knows that better than anyone. And that may be the most important point in this entire story. The competitive window of a championship-caliber team doesn't last forever. Jalen Hurts is in his prime, the locker room leadership is fully engaged, and Eagle Nation is hungry for more. There is a right moment to make the big move, and that moment, with Crosby available and the Cowboys apparently priced out of the conversation, might be right now. The question Howie Roseman needs to answer in the coming weeks could be the most important one of the entire offseason. With a trade demand that could involve 2 first-round picks, a heated market with multiple teams in play, and Lane Johnson himself stirring the pot publicly, what's the best strategy for the Eagles? Pull the trigger now and pay the maximum price for Max Crosby, or hold back, explore other options, and preserve draft capital to build the roster more carefully? Drop your opinion in the comments below. Do you think the Eagles should go all in for Crosby no matter the cost, or does Howie Roseman need to stay patient and let the negotiation cool down? Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later with the latest Eagles news.